and share. Yep, that works. So we're good to go there. And we are recording. So good to go there. All right, everything's set up. So we talked a bit or a lot on the economic plan or the economic model. And we actually went through an example with the numbers to figure out the science part of the market and the science part of your business. We talked a little bit about it being both an art and a science, where art is a lot of the marketing and the branding, and that's more of that creative part and the mindset part, where the science part really comes down to the numbers. And we're going to talk about that quite a bit today as more that science part to help you get a plan in place. That's really the big push for today. So let's talk about the economic model and that spreadsheet. Hopefully you both or everybody has that. Of course, Isaiah, that won't be you yet, but you will get this. So did you guys go through it? And Myra, I'm not sure because I don't think you were here last week. Do you know what your number is at this point, Sam? Does that help give you clarity of truly what your number is as far as the amount of appointments that you need to have?
I haven't gone through it this time, but we've gone through it together just because I was moving. So I've been in the middle of that. So, but yeah, no, I mean, we've gone through it before. I haven't this time, but yeah, it helps a lot.
Beautiful. Moving. Hey, there's big congrats to you, Sam. That's awesome. Yes, yes, yes. I know this was a big deal. So we were all super excited for you. That's awesome. Congratulations to you and your family.
Thank you.
So yes. So Myra, this is one of those things that we definitely want you to go through. If we have not already, or you have not already, it's basically your entire business plan, because let's face it, if we don't know really what our goals are, if we just pick a goal of, I want to do 50 deals, or I want to make 100,000. Of course, as new agents, we hear that quite a bit. Yet if you don't know how to get there, if you don't know the actual plan, then how do you know if you're winning or losing each week, each day? And so the economic model of KW is really what puts some clarity on what your job is every day, because you can even take those appointments to then even backtrack per your conversion factors of how many contacts you need to make. Everybody has their own conversion factors on that, depending on just your scripts, your role plays, your and the amount of people that you have in your database. So that's why we track those numbers with our tracking forms. Yet you can track that back. So let's say, hey, you know what? I'm behind 10 deals. I know I need to add 10 deals into my system. That means I'm going to have to ramp up by 50 more contacts a week, something like that. That's what the economic model is meant to help you do. So you can really see where you are in the business. So your business doesn't do one of these things. So you're just not always kind of white knuckling it of like making sure things close. Okay, I have one closing. I have 4 people into the pipeline, all of that. So that's really important. And the next model that we are going to focus on, and we are on page 133. Isaiah, I think we talked about this a little bit when we met last time in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, but we are going to be in page 133. And I've got some fantastic resources I'm going to share with you guys today too. If we don't get them into the chat box, I'll make sure that you also receive them via email, because some of these things are going to change your world as far as your education and knowledge of the market. So when you look at 133, we talked again last week about leads. Leads. Now, we can call them relationships. If you don't like the word leads because it seems salesy or it starts to freak you out that you have to lead generate or make cold calls, you can change that to relationships. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. If you want to say instead of calls, care calls, you can do that too to make sure your mindset is right. And so if you don't have enough leads is your business. So nothing else matters. If you remember, one of the big ahas from last week is if you don't have enough leads to reach your goals, everything else is a distraction. Your website, your app, command learning, anything like that is a distraction if you don't have enough leads or you have not made your contacts for the day. So when we talk about working in your top 20%, meaning working in the most important parts of your business, contacting your leads and that follow-up is the number one thing. Nothing else matters until you get that done. Now, I know you might say to me, oh my gosh, my deal is blowing up. I have this, I have that. Yes, and still not as important as the lead generation and your contacts per day. So I know it's tough. I know when your sellers or buyers are blowing up your phone, it's tough. Yet that is your top 20%. And we're going to talk more about that, of why that's important, so important too. Okay, so page 133, and of course, remember guys, this book was written in 2002. So there are some updates, of course, on the number. And back then, really internet lead generation was not a thing. So some of these we're going to talk through and of course update for today's market. So right in the middle, it talks about a saturation point and how many times you actually need to be in contact with somebody for it to be top of mind, for you to be top of mind with somebody, whether it's via social media, advertising, emails, calls, whatever that looks like. Here it's talking about 7. After 7 things come in your mind, everything else is forgotten. A person only remembers so much. So basically the goal is to always be top of mind, or at least in the top 2. When people think about real estate agents, if your name is not the second that comes out of their mouth, you are irrelevant. So I want you to think about that. Think about how much every single day we are all inundated with advertisements, especially agents, by the way, which are the #1 marketers on Facebook, if you didn't know that. Not only are we the #1 marketers on social media and Facebook, guys, we are also the least engaged. Think about that. Not only do we put the most advertisements and the most posts about our business, people engage the least with our marketing. And that's because we're putting out canned stuff. It's boring. Nobody cares. It's overwhelming. And that's kind of that saturation. So how are you going to stay top of mind? How are you going to make sure, because let's face it, everybody in Florida feels like they have the real estate license. How are you going to be the first or second, preferably the first person that comes out of their mind? One of the things that they talk about here, guys, is in the statistics, especially sellers, they usually hire the first person that comes to their mind, or the first person that they meet. Even with everything going on, it's like a statistic right now of 70% hire the first person that they meet or that they think of. So that's a great statistic to know. So if you're 3rd or 4th on the list, chances are you're not getting hired. Buyers, it's about 50%. Because of course, especially in today's market, they show up in an open house, they go to new construction. It's the person who shows up first, right? Like we're in this crazy market right now, which apparently we're not supposed to use the word crazy anymore because it messes with the mindset of the buyer. Yet, if we're not the first, it's going to be very difficult to get that business, which is super important. So on page 134, it's looking at figure 8. It gives you some of those stats, of course, which have been updated by NAR. And that's one of the things I want to make sure and send you, because if you don't know, and I'm going to share my screen here. And I'm sure Lawrence, who I see, hi Denise, is very familiar with this. And I will send this to all of you, and I'm going to put the link in the chat box here. This is the 2020 profile of home buyers and sellers. If you guys haven't seen this, it's in the NAR website and you can download it directly from there. Instead of going in, guys, willy-nilly and figuring out what home buyers and home sellers want and what's important to them because we think we know, look at the research. Read through these pages of truly what is important to our buyers and sellers. I mean, this has some of the most interesting data that you could ever find. Go through They research and they ask thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And they get these statistics so that you know and you can better market and prospect. Have you guys ever thought about who your typical customer is? I mean, for those of us that have been in the business for a while, we kind of know. We can actually look at all of the people that we have worked with, and you'll start to see trends, whether it's age group, whether it's location, whatever that is. A lot of times we'll start to see trends of who we attract. People want to do business with people that are like them and who they like and who they trust. And so you generally start to see trends of who your customer is. If you have not done this exercise, I want you to take some time to think about that. This is part of your homework. When you're branding, when you're marketing, when you're sending things out into the world, are you being specific, knowing really who your target market is? Because we're going to talk about your target market. Instead of shooting your net as wide as possible, you will get a much better return on investment if you really narrow down your target market. And you're going to get a much better return on your investment and response. Rather than targeting everybody, you go small to go big. I want you to think about the Kevin Kendricks of the world, right? He started with one community. He didn't go out there and market to entire Lake Nona. He started with one community, and he nailed that community with several hundred homes to then slowly took out over many neighborhoods, systematically using that same model. Because he got so good at this one neighborhood, he just took that same system and went to the next neighborhood. Okay, that's how you scale. Go small and nail that to go big. So does anybody really have clarity on who their customer is and who they attract?
Yeah, I know. We're going into the busy season.
I don't know who that was. Anybody? Does anybody know that? Because if you don't, this is a great exercise for you to really think about who has been working with you and who trusts you and who works with you. Because that's a fantastic thing to have.
Yeah, for me, Debbie, I was just going to say, for me, a lot of it is just how I get it. And what I've realized more and more just honing in is just the networking side of things, that it's people that are BNI trained in a BNI chapter, or they're from that. Almost all my contacts are from that, and just working and getting referral partners from that. So that's not really the customer, it's more of the source that I'm honing into. Like Kevin Kendrick, focus on community. I focus on BNI, and that's how I've scaled my business through that.
So I'm going to challenge that, Sam, because let's take that a step further.
Okay.
Who are the people that join BNI? They're business owners.
Business owners, yeah.
They're entrepreneurs, right?
Yep.
So, and they're motivated. They like other people, because the fact that they'll put themselves out there, and they like marketing and talking to people. So you can take that a step further to think of who joins a BNI. Those are the people that you're attracted to, like the movers and shakers, right? Because the people who might own businesses, but yeah, they're not going to show up to a BNI. That may be not your customers. So yes, it's the source, and yes, it's the type of people that would belong to BNI, because they love relationships, they love doing business, and they're smart, thinking, instead of having relationships with 1,000 people, why not have fantastic relationships with 100 business owners who can provide me 5 deals a year rather than 1?
Yeah.
So that's something to think about for sure. Anybody else? Lawrence, do you kind of have a nail on who your customers are, or Denise or Myra?
So database is mine, but the profile of the typical buyer and seller has changed so much over the years. So I'm relearning that as well, to get to know them a lot better, and to have more intimate relationships with them by getting to know them better than before.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy how times have changed. Before it was just it was easy. I knew them very well, but with those guys having so much knowledge from the internet and stuff, it just changes their profile so much as well.
It does. And having to go deeper, with those relationships has never been more important.
Correct. Yeah.
For sure. How about you, Denise?
For me, a lot of blue collar workers, Florida transplants, especially Northerners, if they're from up north, we talk the same language. What's the other? Oh, first time home buyers. I tend to get a lot of those as well because I don't know. I like to tell people what to do.
Yeah. I'm so shocked. That's shocking, Denise. I can't believe that. See, this is when you know your agents and you can giggle and laugh about that. So yes, I love that. Thank you. Well, it's super interesting that you talk about first-time home buyers, because when you look at these characteristics of first-time home buyers, one of the things that definitely stood out, guys, is that first-time home buyers is about 31%. Which is down. It's the lowest it's been in years and years as far as first-time home buyers. So why do you think that would be?
Price point.
Price point, yes. What else?
Student loans.
Student loans. Yeah, price point, affordability, we have very low inventory, especially with the kind of starter homes. We have a lack of new construction that even begins to start under 350. So it's the lowest it's been since 1982. And that's important for you to know, Denise, because you might have to go, uh-oh, if those people aren't buying. And we also know what, they're losing their jobs due to COVID. That, if you remember in Family Reunion, Gary Keller, those are the #1 people that have lost their jobs. You might have to switch or start focusing on another profile of buyer. That's why this is so important for you to know. The other thing is people are staying in their homes longer. It's the highest it's ever been, 10 years. It used to be 6. So people are staying in their homes longer, which is important for you guys to know as well. So whoever you're marketing to, whether you're farming or like everybody who's owned their home for 10 years, it used to be, hey, if you've owned your home in 5 years, we were kind of targeting them. Now knowing that they're staying in their home longer. These are the kind of things that are important to know. Still, sellers use an agent 89% of the time. And less than 1%, and again, this is from 2020, so this is new, less than 1% right now use online only. So I know a lot of us are freaking out of the Zillows of the world and the offer pads and the open doors. And yes, that is going to increase, no doubt. But right now, less than 1% use an online service only. So let's keep that focus in mind. And it says 8% were for sale by owner, which of course we know has gone up. Okay, so these are the type of statistics that you want to know. And in that, in this understanding what sellers want from us, what buyers want to know, where are they coming from? These are so incredibly important. Financing. So when we're sending out marketing and we're getting our lender partners, it's important to know what they're looking for. For sale by owners, why are they selling for sale by owner? I mean, the research has been done for you in this beautiful booklet. Do not miss this. So incredibly important, guys, in today's market. Because how do we win against people like the Zillows and the offer pads? Is that our knowledge and our experience and that super local, hyper local, as you'll call it, knowledge, more important than ever. And I'm going to paste this. Hopefully that works for you guys so that you have that. Any questions around that?
Have you heard any numbers over the last few months? What FSBOs are? Because since they've gone up.
This came up, that was 2020. So 2021, of course, won't be out till the very end of the year, if not January. So that's the latest, is 8% in 2020. So that just came out.
Do you know what it was for 19? Do you remember?
They said it was down to 6%. So another
Okay.
2% is what they showed up there. And I would
Okay.
expect that to continue to rise. It just has, because we know what, you know why? Is because people can. So we have never had more requests for people basically just to do the paperwork, or, hey, I already have a buyer, can you just assist us with this? So I get a lot of those questions on the flat fee type deals, if it's already done and they just want us to assist them. So if you ever have that situation, there is a way to do that, and let's chat about it. The best way to protect everybody and make it happen, because if they've already got the deal, why not be involved and solidify the relationship for future business? Because who knows what it looks like in 5 years. They will have to have us. So let's go to, we are on page 135. And they talk about, here's a question I have for you, which I thought was really interesting. What do you think is more important when you're lead generating, or you're looking for leads or people to use you? What do you think is more important? The look and the message of the branding that you're sending out, or the consistency and frequency? Which do you think is more important, look and message, or consistency and frequency?
Consistency.
Consistency.
And frequency, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay. Anybody think different than that? You guys are absolutely right. Because you guys all know agents that get so hung up. Look at Sam. I won. Yes. Yes. So you're absolutely right. People get so hung up with their branding, or it's not perfect, or I don't do videos because they hate the way I look or sound. Karina, I'm looking at you. Yes. Guys, it's not about that look and the message. It is that frequency and consistency that matters. So no matter what it looks like, do the same thing. Your hair is a hot mess, yet you were supposed to show up at 2 o'clock every Friday to do some live video. Show up. They don't care. And actually, it's funnier. Let's face it. The more personable you can be in video and on social media, the more people look at it. Because remember, real estate agents have the least engagement. And if you're uninteresting, forget it. They're going to ignore you, or just another real estate agent. So make sure that frequency and consistency, whatever you are going to commit to in your 36 touch, make sure you do it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Do something. Okay, page 136. Here it talks about that there are 3 key areas for your lead generation model. First, prospecting and marketing. Second, setting up your database and feeding it constantly. And third, systematic marketing to that database to generate new, repeat, and referral business. Now, one interesting change from the current MREA is it used to be marketing-based, prospecting enhanced. Marketing, that's your passive marketing, guys. That's the stuff you're sending out, the stuff you're posting, the things that don't really take too much of your time, or they don't take you a lot of times, especially if you have a team and you're leveraged. But your marketing is passive, your prospecting is action. It's getting out there and doing. It is now completely switched. It is prospecting based, marketing enhanced. Write that down, please. Prospecting based, marketing enhanced. I don't care how many advertisements you send out. If you are not taking action, the chances of you having a successful business are very slim. If you don't take action, it does not matter. Okay? Super important for you to know. All right, a lot of our day is going to be focused on this fun target on page 137. Many of you, if you don't have your books, you have seen something that looks like this. This is what I'm talking about. This is something that you should understand over and over and over. Now, it's changed slightly with the numbers, yet what has not changed is how you should, when you're lead generating, there is a framework and an outline of who you should be contacting when and where your focus should be. This, once again, kind of goes towards that top 20% that we've talked about previously of where your time and money are going, with your top 20% of where you're going to go get the most business. Okay, who's seen this bullet, this little target before? Awesome. Hey, I love it. Even Isaiah says yes. All right, beautiful. So this target, let's look at this because I want to be really sure everybody is clear on who these people are. Your general public, those are the people that you haven't met. That is everybody. Let's say that's Orlando. Okay, let's just kind of make it like that. General public, haven't met, that's Orlando. Going into the circuit is your target group, haven't met. So you haven't met them yet I'm targeting these people. Maybe you're targeting people who make over $1 million. That is your target group. Maybe you're targeting people who are in a community like Village Walk at Lake Nona. Maybe you're targeting your mother's group. Maybe you're targeting your church. Whatever that looks like, that's your target group, but people you have not met. Okay, so that's important to understand. And if you follow the circle around, you're going to see 12 direct. And we're going to talk about that. Okay, 12 direct. Then you go farther into the circle and you're going to see your met group. Those are the people that you have either talked to or met in person at some point in time. That is your met group. And what you're going to see there is when you go around the circle, you're going to start with an 8x8, which then goes into a now 36 touch. It used to be 33. Welcome to the new world. You have to touch them more, which still sounds weird, yet you get what I'm saying. 36 touch. Okay, so you start with the 8x8 and you go to the 36 touch. And then in that core is your allied resources. Now, hear me out. A lot of times you'll hear allied resources are just your team, meaning your inspector, your lender, your title company. In this particular scenario and book, your allied resources are also your core, otherwise known as like your top 25, your top 50, your top 100. Why is that different for different people? Can somebody tell me why that's different for different people? Your core group?
They refer your business?
Yes, but why is it different for different people? Where like Denise may have a top 100, but Myra may have a top 15. Why is that different for different agents? Somebody give it a shot. What do you think? You can't be wrong. I promise. I don't have a buzzer over here that's going to shoot under your seat. It's okay. You can be wrong. Anybody have any guesses?
Because the model is different.
Okay, now I have two people.
I was saying the model is different, like how they follow up in their core. Like for me, I might be an chapter. I have people that I see every week. And so they're following up differently with their core group. So the model of how they follow up.
Okay, you gave it a shot, yet that's not it. But I appreciate you giving it a shot, Sam. You're 1 for 2. Just kidding. So what that means, guys, is that core group, because I'm specifically talking about your core group. Why do some people have more people in their core group than other, where they have a top 25 versus a top 100? Usually because they've been in business longer, or they just have a more solid core of people. So for instance, I've been in business for 16 years. I have a top 100. Like those are what I call my raving fans. If I'm spending a bunch of money or I'm having a big event, I have 100 people, and kind of I can shoot that to more, but I'm going to focus on my top 100. Where Myra, she's newer in the business, so she hasn't closed as many people. She hasn't been referred as many people. So she may not have many relationships like that she's done business with. So she might have a top 15. Whatever that number is for you, That is for you to organize and understand. So your database, if you're wondering, how do I organize this database? It goes off of this target. And in command, you should be tagging them as such, whatever that looks like for you. That can be top 20, top 50, top 100, and you can even have all three. And that's something we do. We have a top 25 and we have a top 100. And that's because we market to them slightly different, or my top 25 get the first lunches of the year. When I'm setting up lunches with everybody, my top 25 gets first dibs, and then I'll start shooting it out to my top 100. So that's what I mean by that. Those are my core group. You might have different numbers, and that's okay. So not everybody is going to have a top 100, right? So that's what I mean by that, and that's what's super important. So look at page 138. People love this one because lots of time when we talked about that difference in prospecting and marketing, again, remember guys, this is 2002. So you've got newspaper in there. I'm pretty sure nobody's doing any newspaper advertising. So keep in mind, this is just to kind of get your brain going. And one of the things I have people do in some of my classes with new agents is now you start writing down ideas that are not here, because that's super important of saying, how do I market? I get this all the time. I've called my people to death. They don't want to hear from me anymore. Anybody felt that? Like they don't want to hear from me anymore. What other things can I do to both prospect and market? This is just used to give you some ideas. And I'm going to shout out Alexia and Brian Boudrum for a second, because they've done something last year that I've never seen done. And of course, it's a COVID world, right? They were thinking outside the box. If you go to the CVS's by their house, they have this stand that has antiseptic wipes in it and antiseptic for their hands. And it's branded by them, their faces, right as you walk in the door, like, enjoy these free wipes and or sanitizing wipes by the Boudrums. I'm like, there you go. That's out of the box, right? Like, cool. So, you know, and then it's like, okay, now you have to find the return on investment. What was your expectation from on that? But this is why to think out the box. I know Sam does a bunch of different stuff out there. I know Carlene, like they're doing the Wealth Building Wednesday. It's a new world. We have to start thinking outside of the box. Yet, the more research you can do or rip and duplicate of something else that you already know is working, that can be a fantastic way to market. Any questions on that of what to do? I don't know what to do. Anything there? You got a lot of big agents here that can help and give you some clues on that. All right. So on page 139, middle of the page, this is talking about having a final list of the people. So the first step, guys, is to organize your database. So you know who's going to get what. Okay, so if you haven't done that, first organize your database. And here's the deal. It doesn't have to be perfect. Those of us that have been in the business a long time, it's not going to be perfect. And I don't want that to paralyze you to go, oh my goodness, I have 3,000 people in here. There's no way I'm going to get this perfect. And that's okay. Start where you are, maybe spend 2 days organizing, getting rid of people, making sure that your top people are taken care of, and have that organized. So it says in the middle of the page, when you have your final list, systematize it. Create a written plan on how you propose to attack each of the areas over the course of the next 12 months. So yes, when you're business planning in October and November, your plan should be set up for the entire year. The entire year, because let's face it, you and I know if it's not in a plan and it's not on your calendar, it will not exist. I think I saw Mandy pop in here at one time, and she knows if it's not in the calendar to do a market update video already for each month, it is not happening. So we all know that. And I'm going to give you an idea. Let me show you an example of what this looks like. For 36 touch, I'm going to give you So when we sit down as a team, we discuss what is our 36 touch going to look like? Because we don't need to overcomplicate it in the beginning. This is what it looks like. Quarterly calls, a monthly market update. Notice it says to the top 100. Events, we have 4 events a year. And how we break that up, just so you know, is we have a different theme for each one. One is always a fundraiser for bringing home Grace, the 501(c) that we have. So one is a big fundraiser, which is always a poker tournament, which is a fantastic way to have fun and raise money. The other is some sort of education event, a Dave Ramsey, whatever is kind of important at the moment with whatever market we're in. So this might be how to win in a multi-offer market, something like that. First time home buyer seminars, whatever that looks like. Okay, and then another one is we make it a happy hour, something more adult themed. And then we usually have something family themed. So we make sure that we kind of get to all people. What do people want to come to? They'll usually come to one or at least 2 of those events. The next one is a holiday touch, some sort of holiday. Now, the idea is to get attention. If you choose the top 4 holidays, do you think you're going to get more or less interaction than you would for like a left-handers day? Do you think you'll get more or less?
Debbie, can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yes, that's okay. So if you choose the top 4 holidays, and what I mean by that is the holidays that most everybody knows, loves, and sends stuff for, you're going to get more or less if you chose something more obscure.
Less. You're going to get less.
Yes, less interaction. Why? Because how many of us got 45 holiday emails or Thanksgiving, giving thanks to you emails? How many of us got inundated with those? Raise your hand. Right? It gets lost in the mix. So just to give you an idea, some of the things that we chose are the next one coming up is on Organ Donation Day, which is in April. And why did we choose that? Because one of the people on our teams actually had a liver transplant. So do you think that gets more engagement, or if we just sent out a Thanksgiving card? Because it's who we are. So choose things that match who you are. If you love dogs, National Adoption Day, choose things that are important to you and brand you. We send, you'll see football magnets because we all love football. So birthdays, anniversaries, people love that still, guys. They love those little videos. One thing that David Frazier does that I love is he takes a little video and he just kind of puts in people's names, or he has a picture, or he sits there in a silly hat in the corner of his house and he wishes them a happy birthday and he posts it on their social media. Social media touches. So we make sure that we're engaging with our entire database on social media at least 6 times a year, whether we're liking, sharing, commenting, miss you, whatever. We're making sure that we connect with them via social media. And then sending goodies to clients. So again, this would be our core group, our top 25 or top 100. We do like things like booing people for Halloween and dropping stuff off at their door. Last year, we wanted to gear it towards the people that did not really go out for Halloween. So we dropped off little shot glasses and shots saying, you've been boozed. So things like that, that go towards your brand. This is a great way. And again, if you guys would like that, just text me. I'm happy to send this to you. We then take this, guys, and we put it in the calendar. We actually calendar it out. Now, is it perfect? If Mandy's still on, she will tell you absolutely not. Yet I can tell you, if you don't have some sort of outline like this, it's really rough to have that. So is that helpful? Who else has a 36 plan, touch plan all out for you? Hey, then this is relevant for you. That's perfect. So if you can use this, just let me know. Like I said, it's an outline and then you gear it towards you and then you get it into the calendar. You make it systematic. That's what is super important. Now, let's take that a step further. Now that you have this, you can calendar it out and now you can systematize it, yes, through command or whatever database that you use. They have ways where you can automate. So birthdays, the different holidays, you can automate those through command and your smart plans, which by the way, many of them are already built for you. If you have not been in command in a while, they have a smart plans library, which all agents can contribute to that are already done for you. So you just, all you do is add those to your library, you tweak it to you, however you would like that to work, and it's done. Yes, I know this takes planning. However, I can tell you your largest return on investment is what? For leads and referrals, what's your highest return on investment?
Your database.
Your database. Marina, you're batting 1,000 over there. I don't see you, but you probably have babies. So yes,
No,
yes, if you're gonna spend time on anything, spend it on this. I tell people all the time, I love that you're doing open houses. I love that you're spending so much time doing social media videos. However, if you're not spending time setting up your database properly and setting up your 36 touch plan, you're shooting yourself in the foot because that's your highest return on investment. Okay, so that's super, super important. Ooh, one thing I just heard on a video, which I loved, which some of you might like too, especially in the new world of COVID. You guys have heard, I always teach that class, 30 listings in 90 days. People kind of tweak it to their own numbers. It was one of the things that kind of changed my world several years ago, and the Kendricks I know are doing it right now. 30 cups of coffee in 30 days. I thought that was such a cool idea, especially, listen, we know listings are really difficult to get. Maybe you are new and you're not sure how to get started. Imagine if you just said, you know what, I'm going to have 30 cups of coffee with somebody in 30 days. How cool would that be? Do you think you'd get business when you have a relationship and do that really close with people and take them for coffee? Shoot, you could do 3 a day. I mean, you'd be wired. You gotta get some decaf in there, right? But how cool would that be? 30 cups of coffee in 30 days. So I want to see somebody do that because I'd love to know what that looks like. Nothing like that's how you go deep with your database.
My mom started doing that, and then she also bought mugs with her name on them. So when she met with them, she would give them the mug that had her information.
Boom! There you go. There you go. That's awesome. I love that. That's so cool.
Debbie,
Yes.
Tim Roberts would do when he was in BNI, not the owner, but when he was a member, he would do 5 one-to-ones a week, and he got 3 referrals a week out of that every week.
Yeah. Think about that, guys. If you've never thought of networking or business to business deals, what an incredible way to do business. 3 referrals a week. So that would be you guys, by the way, I'm going to throw some math at you real quick here. 3 referrals a week. Okay, which is pretty much, I'm sure you'll get, let's just say you get 2 appointments out of the 3 referrals you get, right? Let's just say one doesn't want to set an appointment, but because they're warm referrals, you're probably going to get an appointment. So either from them or somebody else, that's 2 appointments a week. When you put that into the economic model, that's probably about 50 deals a year, guys. 50 deals a year, which the math comes into, goodness, $400,000 in GCI. And I'm just estimating, obviously, but yeah, would you be willing to sit down with people once a day during the week? Who'd be willing to do that for that kind of money or return on investment? Think of all the people that you could help. Yeah. Yes. So start thinking differently. Start thinking smart. Page 140 and 141. So up at the top, it says, there is a basic formula for working with your allied resources. It can be summed up in this way: educate, ask for help, and reward. So we talked about this 36 plan, and I showed you and gave you a little bit of a framework there. I also want to talk about reward. And I see your message now, Carlene. Yes, I'm going to use it. It's a great structure. You got it. And Carlene, it's actually calendared out in an Excel spreadsheet. If you just want to see what that looks like, I'm happy to share that with you as well. Let's talk about reward. Are you rewarding the people that are referring your business? You guys shout it out. Who's rewarding them and what are you doing?
I give them a gift card.
Love that. You give them a gift card. Fantastic. And about how much are you spending on that gift card?
Depending, sometimes it's $10 with a card, with AMC card, saying thank you so much, and I include like a picture of them or their family with the $10. And I've been doing also their brownies. They have beautiful, like amazing brownies, so I send that. I think it's like $25 altogether.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think are you using AM cards to do that? That's
AM,
AM cards.
Yep.
Got it. Yes. If you guys have not heard about AM cards, that is definitely one way to do it. I will tell you, lesson learned on our end is make sure you do personalize it. Make sure you grab a picture off of their Facebook or something that you have and include it to personalize it, because it just sometimes it loses its luster if it doesn't have that personalization. I promise you, like, let's say they had a new baby. If you post a picture of their baby in a card, they will keep that card and it's probably going on the fridge. You will get a whole lot more.
I was gonna say, Debbie, a title company sent me that when I was pregnant.
Yes.
And I loved it, and I put it there on my fridge. So I'm like, oh, I need to do this. It was wonderful.
Yes, I have that experience, and heck, I'm an agent. We do this for people that all the time. So especially when things are emotional, it can change your world. When I had my heart surgery in 2017, I received a card from the guy who runs AM cards, and he had taken a picture that I had posted after my surgery, and I had a shirt on that said something like worry less, smile more. And I mean, maybe 2 days after my surgery, and he grabbed that picture off my Facebook, and I cried for like an hour. And he was just like, I haven't heard from him in 2 years. And he sent that to me, and I will never forget that card. And I never talked to him. He's a really nice guy, but that card, I kept that card and it made me cry, and I will never forget about him. So I want you to think about those kind of things, dog loss, whatever that might be. Something like that, they will always remember you. And the fact that he thought of me through that was pretty amazing. So take that home, because that's really important. So different things as far as rewarding. Again, make it personal. They also have gift cards, guys, that you can put with your team name. You can personalize them. There's companies that do that. Another fun thing I've always seen is lottery cards or lottery tickets. People will send lottery tickets because sometimes gift cards don't get used, but lottery tickets always do. And it's that fun of going, oh, cool, she sent me $3 worth of cards or $5 worth of cards, but what if you win like 75 bucks? Guess who's posting that? Hey, my realtor just sent me this. Look, I just won 75 bucks. Like, that's fun and cool. And one of the things that they talk about in here is if you're sending something, where should you send that? Especially if it's something visual like brownies, which by the way are really good through AM cards. Where should you be sending that?
To their job?
Yes, to their job. And why do you want to send it to their job, Marina?
Because of the coworkers. They're gonna love that.
Yeah. And they're gonna go, my realtor never sent me brownies or flowers or fruit or whatever you're sending. I know the Weimer group sends this little kind of coffee cup with treats in it, and they do it through the entire process. Like, congratulations on your appraisal. So think bigger on that. It doesn't have to just be when they send a referral. It can be through the sales process, because they're going to go, man, your realtor sends you lots of stuff. If you're going to spend money, stop spending money on outside leads and spend money on your people.
Debbie.
Yeah.
Something I do is people may or may not know me, but I collect baseball cards. And so I have a core of friends and people that do that. So if they refer me, I'll find their favorite player and give them a stack of their favorite cards. And so, because people like to buy from people like themselves, and that just feeds that. So I try to do that, or their interest, if they're, give them a book or whatever, if they're into reading and stuff. So try to customize it to their hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. Or their charity. Maybe they believe really strongly in something. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. Even for your closing gifts, guys. You know, everybody likes a Scentsy gift, but if you make a donation for $200 in the name of their particular charity, what's going to mean more to them? So think a little bit different on that. You know, again, I love some of the closing gifts with, you know, their names or the locations, and those are great. However, what could be more? You probably saw one of my posts. I actually had one closing I had to do because my team had COVID. So I jumped in and took a listing. It felt weird, but I jumped in and took a listing while the team was healing. And she was sad about leaving her home. She was having a hard time, and she raised her family there and lost her husband there. And you know, do I want to give her a little Scentsy? No. So I had Savannah and Ryan Weicker, who are two of our agents and happen to be super talented in art. I had them do a drawing and a sketch watercolor for her so she would have what her house looked like. And I had it framed and told her she could frame it as big as she wanted, whatever she could do with that print, but she would have it in her new home. So she would always remember and have that. Of course, she cried at closing, so maybe that wasn't the best time to do that. Yet it was more heartfelt than a Scentsy, right? So I want you guys to start thinking deeper a little bit. I know we're all busy, yet those kind of things mean everything. If you got into this business, of course, to build relationships and help people, it's not always about more, it's about that. Okay. So if we're looking at page 142, 143, it's talking about feeding that database. We all know database is your data bank. Systematically execute. We could talk about that all along. Being purposeful and consistent. You'll see on page 143, this met and haven't met. And this is where it gets into a little bit deeper into your 8x8, your 12 direct, and your 33 touch. So I want to make sure and get these in as we wrap it up. Your 8x8 that we talked about. Well, let's start with 12 direct. 12 direct, if you're looking at your target, again, back on 137, your 12 direct are the people that you haven't met, your target group. This is like I envision a farming group. So if you have a farm or a community that you work in, you haven't met them, but they're a target. Okay, or whatever, insert whatever your target group is. That's a 1 month, 12 direct plan. So you're sending them something once a month, market update, postcards, whatever that looks like, or you're door knocking them. These days, probably not a good idea to door knock them once a month. They're going to call the cops on you. Yet you're thinking 12 direct, haven't met. Again, don't go too far that you're not going to be able to do it. When you're choosing what you're going to do the math. I see people say sometimes like, I'm going to door knock 500 houses. I'm like, awesome. And just know you're going to have to door knock them at least 4 times in the year to even make a dent. Do that math for me and come back and let me know how many doors you're going to have to knock a week. I'm not surprised when they come back and tell me they're going to do 100 doors. I'm like, that's what I thought. So be smart about it, guys. Commit to what you're going to do, but understand it's going to require multiple times and follow-ups. All right. So we talked about 12 direct, 8x8. So that's the met group. That's usually somebody you met quickly at an open house. That's somebody who signed call. So you don't know them. They are not in your core. However, you have spoken to them or met them in person. They are now part of your MET group, and you start with an 8x8. So these are not people in your core group that you know. 8x8, what that means is 8 touches, 8 weeks. Yes, it's kind of stalkerish. However, you're going to be creative and smart with it to go, it's different types of touches. Social media, you're going to friend them on social media. You're going to send them a little thank you card. It was nice to meet you. You're going to send them a follow-up email. You're going to send them properties. So the idea is to solidify and cement you in their brain. That's why it's 8x8. Okay, you're looking to get more engagement and you're looking to cement them into your system, which becomes more of an ally where you can start them on a 36 touch. If you get 0 response, then it depends. Do I want to continue and start hammering them? You'll hear people these days, especially instead of 8x8s, you'll hear 10 days or 12 days of pain. Until you get some good responses and you're building that rapport, you're going to kind of hammer it, that text, email, all of those good things, video, shoot them whatever you want. So 8x8, that's why it goes into that 36 touch. Okay. Again, this is a model, guys. Don't guess it. Don't be super creative with it. I'm going to touch them 99 times, not necessary. And they're going to unfriend you and call you a stalker. So follow the model. Yes. These days you have to, connect with them a little bit more because there's so much noise, yet follow the model. If you want to know how you're going to connect with people, that's it. That's what we're going to talk about. All right. Any questions? And then we're going to get into the homework.
I have a question, Debbie.
Yes, go ahead, Sam.
So you were talking about social media and you had a plan. I don't have it in front of me, but you had a plan of, how many your team has to reach so many people on social media. I was just curious, how do you track that? Like if you like something, comment, like, are you putting a note in your database or is it just kind of fluid or organic? Like, how do you do that?
So great question for us. So we follow because it's very difficult when you have that many touches to do, we follow a 5-5-5 plan. And that's Monday through Friday where we and this is our customers. Remember, this doesn't mean everybody, but somebody on our customers, 5, 5, and 5, meaning we like 5 things, we post 5 things, and we share 5 things on their page. So 5, 5, and 5, I can promise you we're going to get to that 6. Now, some people aren't as big on Facebook, maybe they're Instagram, and some people aren't on it at all. And that just means we know those people have to be contacted in other ways. But the 5, 5, and 5 rule keeps it, that you're doing it. It's easy to track, knowing that you're pretty much going to hit everybody. Yes, you may hit more people more than others, yet that's the idea. Because I have some people that post maybe twice a year. So let me tell you, and if you don't have those in your see first, your customers should be, by the way, in that see first. If they post, I want to see what they post first. So there is a way when you have that notification or when you see them, it's not just being able to see their stuff, see it first. You can put them where you pin them first. So every time they post, you can see that. But great question. Any other questions? So pages 146 and 147, they're just going to go a little bit deeper into those 8x8s and 36 touches and 12x12 direct. And this is going to be part of your homework. I want you to create for next week your 36 touch, your 8x8, and your 12 direct. Just the outline, guys. Just the outline. Just like I showed you there. Just the outline is all I'm looking for, because then I know at least you have that outline, and then you can choose which one to focus on and go deeper of what that looks like. So 36 touch, 8x8, and 12 direct. What are you going to send those people? What do you think they need? What's of value? I want you to remember value. Nobody wants junk email. Okay. So create those 3 things: 36 touch, 8x8, 12 direct. And again, the book goes a little bit deeper. I'm also gonna show and share with you this video. I'm going to make sure that you have. So this is a fantastic video on take your touch campaigns to the next level. I'm gonna share this link with you because it's new, relevant, and it's some of the top people. And if you've ever seen the MAPS coaching that's called customer experience, it is the agents that run the customer experience. I think that would be super helpful, so it can help get that brain of what you want to do for your people and get that systematized. So that will be helpful as well, and you can check that out. And let me make sure I shared everything. Yes, command was just the other thing that I was going to take you to as far as smart plans go. That's something I'm sure you guys can all, if your main is command, other systems have other types of follow-up systems, but those can all be done. If you haven't checked out Smart Plans in the Smart Plans library, check it out because it's not what it was even 30 days ago. So check that out. You have your homework. All right, let's talk about ahas. Let's hear some ahas. I want to hear at least 3 ahas or things that really stood out to you today. Go ahead, shout them out, guys. Not all at once. Come on.
I like that 30 cups of coffee, 30 cups of coffee in 30 days. That was kind of cool.
There you go. I learned that one today too. I'm like, okay, I like that better than 30 listings in 90 days. Let's go 30 cups of coffee in 30 days. Beautiful. I love it.
Yes.
What else?
I like the AM cards.
Yes.
I'm gonna contact them and see what they're talking about.
Yes. And so just to let you know, I think it's like $39 a month subscription, but it includes a certain amount of cards. I love it because it goes out, it mails it, it does all that stuff. You can put in your branding where it literally takes 2 minutes because I don't know, my stamps and trying to get things out, it'll sit on my desk for 4 days, Carlene, so 5-6 days, or you forget to mail it all together. So it's a great way to have somebody else do it for you. They have beautiful cards. You can also include your signature. You can have your signature and they digitize it, which is pretty cool. Yet that personalization is everything. Pulling a card is everything. So, all right, one more before I let you go.
I want to share a mailer that I have that I want to send out.
Yeah.
If you could see it.
I cannot. I'm pretty.
It says spread referrals, not germs. And then it says this cold flu season and always is very appreciated. As many referrals you can send my way, and you put your business card and a little jar of hand sanitizer.
Hey, what do you guys think? What do you think?
So that
I
was
love
pretty
it.
cool.
I love it. I mean, that would get my attention. And we're always looking for hand sanitizer, especially those of us with kids. It's gross. So yes, I don't care. Even without COVID, I need hand sanitizer. It's nasty. So I love it. That's fantastic. And if it's you, because you like humor, right? You're super fun, Myra. So that's like part of who you are. So I love that. That's perfect. All right, well, you guys got it. You have your homework. I hope you join me next week as well. If you've missed one or you want to check out a video, those are on our YouTube channel. So if you don't know where that is, send me a text or send Elena a text. She can guide you to that because I know you guys so far had really good feedback. I love that you guys engage because it makes it so much fun, more fun and better. So thank you all very much for being here. I appreciate it. And we'll see you soon. Oh, and don't forget, we have a really great speaker at 2 o'clock today. So sponsored by the DEI committee. If you can jump on, that's going to be a fantastic speaker as well. So thank you for that. All right. Bye.